forces of light bring illumination to mankind. Let the spirit of peace be spread abroad. May humanity of goodwill everywhere meet in a spirit of cooperation. May forgiveness on the part of all mankind be the keynote at this time. Let power attend the efforts of the great ones. So let it be, and help us do our part.
All right. So thank you all for attending. And today is teaching day. It's Saturday. So I am in process of teaching, making sure all the audio is correct. So let me just verify that real quick. Okay, looks like it's all good. So, over the teachings that I've been giving for quite a while, I've helped you better understand the fact that there's a number of people who work within our government that are Russian assets. And one of them is the president himself. I've taught about how in 1983 he established a strong relationship with Russia and began his relationship to Russia in a very focused way. Mainly a collaboration of like-mindedness, a sense of what he would like if he was to become a president or something of great authority, where you would rule and you would never lose your position. You'd be like a king. You'd be like Putin or like the guy in North Korea. So that's Trump's desire. That's his real desire. That's the way he sees himself. And that's the way he wants everybody to see himself, and not in a negative light, but in an attitude of this is who I am. Yeah. So the truth is that he is a Nazi. Yeah, and so are the people of Russia in regards to the military and others. And they're all tyrants and Russians and fascists. And they hold the attitude of Nazi. Yeah. So the Nazi relationship is pretty big over in that area. Yeah. And we have, Marjorie Taylor Greene that likes to talk about how Nazis, are such a bad thing. Yeah. And that they come from Ukraine, of all things. And that she really puts out a very strong attitude in relationship to Nazis and how Ukraine is very much a Nazi-oriented kind of scenario. Let's look at this.
White supremacist and white nationalist Nick Fuentes, and when asked about it, doubled down on it and said, we're going to focus on people, not labels. So get out of here with that damn hypocrisy. And Dr. Snyder, I'm going to give you some time to respond. Go ahead.
First of all, I'd like to thank the representative from Georgia by making clear with her comments and with her person that any discussion of political warfare has to include Russia, Ukraine, and America. She's just demonstrated that point, I think, very powerfully. On the question of Nazis, I've written 2 books as a historian about Nazis and the Holocaust. On the question.
So this is the House of Representatives, and Marjorie Taylor Greene had just spent a period of time telling this man that Nazis are all over Ukraine. And for us to back Ukraine is to back Nazis. And that Russia is okay. They don't have Nazis, only Ukraine. We should straighten ourselves out and realize what Marjorie Taylor Greene sees, and we should see the same thing. But this is kind of very, very diluted. And she's a Russian asset. So she's representing Putin and Russian media. Yeah. So that's her thing. That's what she does. And she likes to go online and read disinformation from Russia. And she sees it as the truth, because she's a Russian asset. And it's just in her genes. It's who she is, So she hits this guy with as though he doesn't know what he's talking about. Yeah. So this is what happens.
Question of Ukrainian nationalism. I am the leading scholar of that subject in North America and have been writing about it for 20 years.
So she's trying to tell the leading scholar of this particular subject, that he's wrong. Even though he's the leading scholar and writes books and everything on the subject, nope, he's wrong. The Russian asset disagrees.
If the chamber is interested in the degree of far-right participation in Ukrainian politics, you can be assured that no far-right party has ever crossed 3% in a Ukrainian election. So of course there are bad people in every country, but by any comparative standard is a very small phenomenon. In Russia, on the other hand.
So he just said that the Ukraine has far less than 3% in its public that are Nazis. And that includes military and all that. Yeah. But on the other hand,
the army includes openly Nazi formations, such as Rushich.
Russian army has openly inclusive Nazi formation.
The government itself is fascist in character, and it is carrying out a war which includes deportation of children by the tens of thousands, the open intention of destroying a state, as well as mass torture. So if we're looking for fascism, and if there is anyone who is sincerely concerned about halting fascism or racism, you would wish to halt Russia.
Thank you so much, Dr. Snyder. And, this hearing was put together to talk about political warfare, and it's strange because a lot of my Republican colleagues seem to be pointing a lot of fingers, but not at Vladimir Putin and not holding him accountable. I mean, even top-ranking Republicans are having enough of it. Michael McCall said, quote, "I think Russian propaganda has made its way into the United States. Unfortunately, it's infected a good chunk of my party's base," unquote. We just heard some of that right now. Republican Michael Turner, chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, quote, "We see directly coming from Russia attempts to mass communications that there are anti-Ukraine and pro-Russia messages, some of which we even hear being uttered on the House floor." Dr. Snyder, can you talk really quickly about some of the main narratives Russia uses when engaging in political warfare?
I appreciate this question because if we're going to talk about political warfare, we have to take into account the ways that countries cooperate. It's entirely artificial to say, here's China, here's America. That means that we leave aside Xinjiang, at least we leave aside Tibet, Hong Kong, Taiwan, New Zealand, Australia, Europe, all the places where China practices political warfare, and we leave aside Russia and Ukraine, which is where it matters the most. Political warfare is only political warfare if it passes through us. That is the intention. We've just seen an example of it passing through a person. It's only political warfare if it passes through us. What the Russians and the Chinese imitating the Russians try to do is to convince us that our system is no better than theirs, there's no point in voting, and we should support, if we support anyone at all, the person who's most likely to bring our system down. That's the point.
I really appreciate you bringing up the fact that it has to pass through us, because we just heard it here from my colleague, and here's another tweet from the same colleague saying, "Anyone who votes to fund Ukraine is funding the most corrupt money scheme of any foreign war in our country's history." And if you look at where this is from the Strategic Culture Foundation, an online journal run by a Russian intelligence service that has been sanctioned by the U.S. Treasury Department for election interference.
Yeah, election interference. I mean, really, it is a Nazi publicized website where she gets her information and she quotes it. So let's take a look at Mr. Trump. Yeah. Most recently, he went to the Pope's funeral. How do you think our super duper president is handling himself in a situation like that? Here you have tens of thousands of people mourning the death of the Pope. And he, of all people, gets to be in a up front, right there, in the front of the entire audience. He is in front seat. Yeah. So you would think, he would think, I better be careful what I do. You know, this could be irreverent. But he doesn't have reverence or irreverence. Yeah. So he just has Trump. So here he is. He's at the funeral. And what is he doing? What's he doing at the funeral? Getting out chewing gum. He's texting. He's taking naps.
Come pure la celebrazione di una messa, isola simbolo del dharma, è stato anche un viaggio all'estero.
Anybody else eating? Anybody?
Il male. Nella stessa linea è stato anche un viaggio all'estero, insieme con il patriarca ecumenico e con l'arcivescovo di Atene.
He's wearing a blue suit when everybody else is wearing black. He is walking irreverence. And he's our president.
Insieme con il patriarca ecumenico e con l'arcivescovo di Atene. Insieme con il patriarca ecumenico e con l'arcivescovo di Atene, come pure la celebrazione di una messa, isola simbolo del dharma dell'emergenza, camminare per
Yeah. What would you expect? Yeah. On Easter, he goes to play golf and complain about everybody on texts. That's how he spent his Easter day. Well, we go look at Obama, other people who were president. They're all at church on that day, except our dear president, who's too irreverent, too self-centered to consider about Jesus Christ. That's our guy. So let's take a look at Elon Musk. Yeah. He has been completely destroyed this week. Completely. And how did that work out?
Elon Musk's artificial intelligence company, X, now called XAI, opened.
So what this is that this is part of Elon's great process of what he's doing on Earth. And he decided to go to Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, and get himself a manufacturing plant and pollute the local people so badly that they're all just choking.
A massive data center known as Colossus last year that supports the chatbot Grok. The facility is next to historically black neighborhoods and runs on 35 methane gas-powered turbine generators, which emit significant amounts of nitrogen oxide and other toxic chemicals. The Southern Environmental Law Center says the turbines are operating without a permit. Those permits are the focus of a Shelby County Health Department hearing taking place today, Friday, as Musk says he wants to continue to expand his project. In February, Elon Musk explained why he decided to build Colossus in Memphis.
Well, we needed a building. We can't build a building, so we must use an existing building. So we looked for factories that had been abandoned, but the factory was in good shape, like a company had gone bankrupt or something. So we found an Electrolux factory in Memphis. That's why it's in Memphis, home of Elvis, and also one of the oldest. I think it was the capital of ancient Egypt.
This is Tennessee State Representative Justin J. Pearson, a Democrat who represents Memphis.
AI, Elon Musk company, is operating 35 gas turbines in southwest Memphis, in the neighborhood where myself and my entire family lives. This is horrific news. They are increasing the amount of nitrogen dioxide, which causes smog and continues to harm people with asthma by potentially 30 to 60%.
For more, we are joined in Memphis, Tennessee by State Representative Justin J. Pearson and his brother Keyshawn Pearson, Executive Director of Memphis Community Against Pollution. We welcome you both to Democracy Now! Keyshawn, let's begin with you, as you're quoted all over about what's happening in your community, Memphis, Tennessee, where Dr. King was assassinated April 4th, 1968. Memphis, Tennessee, where Elon Musk wants to build, is trying to expand Colossus. Explain what's happening in the community response and what you're planning to say today at the Health Department hearing.
What's happening in Memphis is a human rights violation. Elon Musk and XAI are violating our human right to clean air and a clean, healthy environment. Today, I plan to address the Shelby County Health Department in stating that this has not been a transparent process. This has been done in a clandestine way. And this is not the way that we can move forward healthily for our community. We need justice in processing. We need justice in the process. We need redress and repair. We don't need continual pollution. We've seen this story before where polluters come to our city, whether it has been TVA and their Valero plant, sterilization services and their ethylene oxide plant. We have continued to be looked at as the path of least resistance. Today, I will make and explain to our Shelby County Health Department that we are not the path of least resistance. We are a resilient community that deserves the human rights of clean air, clean water, clean soil, and a healthy environment. We should not continue to bear the burden of the negative health impacts of this facility and its rapid pace and movement. A phrase and a term coined by Leah Thomas, environmental intersectionalism. It explains how
I want to ask you, Elon Musk claims he chose the former Electrolux building in Memphis because he wanted to get his AI applications up as fast as possible within 122 days. He decided to use the abandoned building instead of a brand new one. Can you talk about what Electrolux was before the process it took for Musk's company XAI to purchase the building?
Electrolux was a company that scammed the city of Memphis. Electrolux came to our city and promised jobs, promised prosperity, similar to what XAI is doing, and then they left. They left without fulfilling the promise of jobs. They left without fulfilling the tax recommendations and the taxes that they said that they would provide that would elevate our community. They made promises and then they left and abandoned us. This is the same process that we've seen Elon Musk do in Texas as well as California. He will create a plan and then he will leave. And so what we're seeing right now is that this continual process is continuing to happen with a new tenant. Electrolux provided him the facility and he is scamming the city of Memphis while putting out pollution.
Keyshawn, I want to introduce your brother. This is an interesting inside-outside strategy. Tennessee Democratic State Representative Justin J. Pearson of Memphis, well known to people around the country. The two Justins, the representatives who were forced out of the legislature, then reelected back in by their communities. Justin J. Pearson representing Memphis. Justin, thank you so much for being with us, State Representative. If you can talk about your opposition to Elon Musk and XAI. Very interesting that your fellow Republicans who have a supermajority in the Tennessee State House recently passed a resolution recognizing Musk as, quote, a brilliant businessman who's saving lives and helping to restore America as a valuable ally of Donald J. Trump. Talk about your concerns about what this AI data center will mean.
Yeah, look, my concern is that Elon Musk is buying and paying for access to pollute, harm, and hurt our community. Unfortunately, our mayors and elected officials and appointed officials, Mayor Lee Harris, Mayor Paul Young, Shelby County Health Director Michelle Taylor, and the Greater Memphis Chamber all decided that the community of 38109, where I live, could be on the auction block for Elon Musk to buy. And it is a horrible, horrendous project that is having serious ramifications for our community. The reason that in legislation that my colleagues passed praising Elon Musk, I put several amendments, was to tell the truth, that Elon Musk is polluting the air of Tennesseans. He is continuing and perpetuating environmental racism and environmental degradation in our community. This project is an application for 15 gas turbines, but we know today that they have 35 turbines. And yesterday, a report showed 33 of those in operation, despite the fact that the mayor of Memphis said only 15 of them were being used because that's what XAI had told him. They are liars, they are abusing our community, and they're exploiting us, and it's having horrible ramifications. 17.2 tons of formaldehyde being sprayed into our air because of these gas turbines. Over 130 tons of nitrogen oxide, making them a larger polluter than the Memphis International Airport is happening right now in our community. And elected officials and appointed officials have a responsibility to the people who they were elected and appointed to serve, not to the billionaires and the oligarchs who are misusing and abusing their authority to hurt our community.
Now, isn't that amazing? The man is so corrupt. There's no way. Every second of the day, every decision he makes isn't toward harm. It's all harm. You know? Even you run a business. You know, how many bad things can you do in a business? In Canada, they're waiting for 43,000 supposed sales that are supposed to get a rebate of millions and millions and millions of dollars. All within just a few days, these sales happened. And it's all fraud. So Canada decided, no, we're not paying any of them. We will investigate every single one. Because this man is corrupt. And he's going to take advantage of Canada by the millions. So they're busting him. Around the world, he's being busted. One of the things that he did that he's being busted for is changing the monitoring odometer of the Tesla vehicles so that the warranty would go out early. And the customer would have to pay for repairs rather than it being carried over from the warranty.
Heard this claim for years that Tesla's odometers don't work. They're speeding them up so they can avoid warranty repair on batteries. But the problem with every article that comes out on Tesla is there is a huge economy surrounded by being negative around Tesla or Elon Musk or electric vehicles. A ton of people want Tesla to fail. They hate Elon Musk and they hate electric vehicles. So anytime something negative is written about any one of those three topics, it's going to get a lot of views. A lot of people are going to want to read it to reassure their own biases or whatever, and that's fine. Now there is a civil case opened up, so I'm going to just give you all of the highlights of this. I'm also going to test this with my own vehicles. Now what's great about this is a 2020 Tesla Model Y. This is mine, and this is one of the vehicles that the plaintiff is claiming that is faulty on its miles. So I am going to drive this Tesla Model Y, this Tesla Model Y, this Tesla Model 3, my Rivian R1T, and even a Porsche Macan on the same exact loop to see if there's any mileage deficiencies. I've also tested this Tesla Model Y in the day and the night because we're talking about consumption, which I'll explain right now. So, consumption. This is the most interesting part of this claim. So the plaintiff is saying that Tesla is adding more mileage based on how aggressive you drive, and Teslas are quick, so they're penalizing you for driving them quickly. The other thing you would be penalized for, if this is true, would be if you're in really hot weather, using a ton of energy, or really cold weather and the battery is running inefficiently. They're saying if you drive 50 miles but you use a ton of consumption or are driving fast, your odometer will say 60 or 70 miles. Now, again, I've already tested this and I did find something interesting that happened, and we'll talk about that shortly, but I just want to give you all the context here. So what this guy is saying is they're saying that Tesla is using a predictive algorithm adding more mileage than the actual odometer states. This person also said that the odometer on their 2020 Model Y he bought in December of 2022 with 36,772 miles on the clock ran at least 15% fast based on his other vehicles and driving history. And for a while, it said he drove 72 miles a day, where he said he drove no more than 20 miles.
And that's a fact. 70 miles, and yet he only drove 20. That's going to add up real quick. So all this corruption in every single area of Tesla, how is that panning out for him today?
Musk's most painful betrayal came from the world. The world removes Tesla. What began as a dip in quarterly profits had now become something darker, a global erasure. Tesla, once synonymous with innovation, was being written out of the story, not just in markets or media, but in policy, infrastructure, and national strategy. In Europe, governments that once competed to lure Tesla factories were now pulling out their chargers. Public EV incentives that had once favored Tesla were now tied to European brands or open platform solutions. Germany and France led the charge, but others followed quickly. In some cities, Tesla-branded charging stations were dismantled and replaced with universal connectors. In others, Tesla's name was quietly removed from future development plans. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't angry, it was clinical. In Canada, infrastructure budgets were rewritten. Grants for EV expansion excluded any company under investigation for international supply chain instability, a thinly veiled reference to Tesla. Provinces like Ontario and Quebec redirected funds to smaller domestic startups and European partnerships. In Latin America, Tesla's solar ambitions were rolled back. Local contractors terminated agreements. Politicians cited reputational risk. In Asia, India's government declined Tesla's long-awaited manufacturing proposal, citing BYD's stronger delivery track record. Even in the United States, major municipal fleet contracts began to favor Ford, Rivian, or foreign-backed EV fleets. Tesla wasn't just out of favor, it was being deleted. What changed? Trust. Tesla no longer inspired confidence. not in regulators, not in city planners, not in consumers. Where once Elon Musk was seen as a disruptor, he was now viewed as a liability. And in a world shifting rapidly toward electrification, no country could afford to bet its future on instability. Tesla has become the Nokia of electric vehicles, pioneering, revolutionary, and ultimately irrelevant. And that global humiliation sparked something even more dangerous, a worker-led revolt, the labor revolt that shook America. They built his dream. Now they're burning it down. In the factories of Fremont, California, and Austin, Texas, the mood shifted from frustration to fury. Tesla workers, once the proud soldiers of Elon Musk's industrial revolution, now saw themselves as the last ones holding a broken empire together. Over time, hours vanished. Stock options became worthless. Benefits were quietly trimmed. The message was loud and clear. Sacrifice more, earn less. But the workers were done sacrificing. It started with informal walkouts, quiet protests during lunch breaks or unscheduled absences. Then came the picket lines. Then came the strikes. From Ohio to Nevada, Tesla's workforce erupted in organized resistance. Labor unions, long pushed to the margins by Musk's aggressive anti-union tactics, finally had an opening, and they seized it with everything they had. Rallies formed outside dealerships. Chants of, "We built this, he broke it," echoed across industrial zones. Workers who had once praised Musk for his boldness now called him a billionaire parasite who gambled their futures on political ego and lost. And it wasn't just Tesla employees joining the cause. Auto workers from Ford, GM, and Rivian showed solidarity. What began as a company crisis was becoming a class war. The media caught on quickly. Viral videos showed once loyal Tesla mechanics burning their uniforms. Former engineers spoke to news outlets, exposing years of ignored complaints and financial manipulation. In congressional hearings, labor leaders testified that Musk had weaponized nationalism to crush American labor. Inside Tesla's executive suite, panic grew. Production halts spread. Deliveries missed targets. Wall Street, already skittish, saw red. But there was no messaging campaign strong enough to stop it. The workforce had turned, and they weren't asking for a seat at the table.
So there you can see that Elon Musk's problem is a problem with being in Doge and firing veterans, healthcare workers, scientists, tens of thousands of people, making them no longer able to live the way they did. And there's nothing wrong with working hard, getting paid, paying your bills, and living. But Elon doesn't see it that way. You must have it a lot harder, and you need to work 18 hours a day, and all this bullshit. Yeah, and that's what they just won't put up with. They're hearing him say that, "Oh, I'm sleeping on the floor, and I'm working 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. I never take a break. I am, while they're building the Model 3, I am there. I am doing it with them. I am working hard." And he's not. He's not. The truth is that he showed up at Tesla during the building of the Model 3 2 times a month. 2 times a month. That's what the engineers said. Yeah, not just regular people that are working out there putting together the cars, but the engineers whose offices are right across the hall from his. They know exactly where he's at and what he's doing. And he was not at Tesla. He was not sleeping on the floor. He was not working long hours. He was traveling and partying and having babies. It's not at all what you think. Not at all. And inside of Tesla, they realized that. And after a good period of time, they began boycotting this liar. And then he joins into the government. And what a humiliating reality to have your CEO, who you think of as a hero is nothing more than a con artist doing the worst things to society. Firing veterans, firing everybody, going into everything, including the IRS. No human rights, no freedom of speech, nothing. And they got upset. They got real upset. He's the only car manufacturer in all of America whose employees are not part of a union. Why? Because he's a Nazi. He's a Nazi. Yeah. Trump is a Nazi. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a Nazi. You all have to really, really focus on what's really going on. Musk says that the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that are on the street picketing him and Trump are paid actors. Paid. Or they're doing it because he caught them carrying out fraud. And he got rid of it. And they're angry because they're so greedy and corrupt. All those people on the street are greedy, corrupt people. And that's why they hate, oh, great Saint Elon. He cannot, he will not acknowledge the fact that he designed a truck that is the biggest failure in auto history. And 46,000 people fell for his illusion of a bulletproof truck that falls apart and put together with glue. People are dying in that truck. It's so dangerous, they have recalled every single one. Not once. This is the 8th recall. And you think all those people who bought the Cybertruck waited 3 years to get it? Was told it was going to cost them $40,000, so they all signed up? And then they sent him an email and say, sorry, lowest price is $76,000. Still want it? Most of them said no. So instead of selling as many as he thinks he should have, like an F-150 or the Chevy or the Rivian, he sold half of what he... And now they're all sitting in parking lots. They won't be sold. And those that were sold are being taken back. And they don't have the money or the staff to rebuild them, to fix them, get them out. So what will happen is that we will see the crushing of the Cybertruck because it is dangerous. And who built it? Who's the designer? Elon Musk. Out of all the Teslas, that's the only one he had any involvement in. And that's obvious because he's not an engineer. He's an idiot. Living on delusions of grandeur. Let's all go to Mars. Millions of you, right? And that's totally insane. We've never been to Mars. No man has ever walked on Mars. But yet he is selling you. He's going to send millions of people, build cities on Mars. Can you imagine living on Mars? I mean, any of you want to go live in Siberia? At least it's on Earth. But if he had a reason, he would sell you that shit. Just like going to Mars. There is no reason whatsoever for you to even consider going to Mars. None. If you have any brains whatsoever, you would wait until after someone has gone to Mars. And 10 years later, that information has been analyzed, subject to results as to what effect will that have on the human body. Another 10 years after that, possible development of designs and engineering that would help us protect ourselves from that environment, making the environment a safer, healthier environment. If you want to send 2 million people there, 5 or 10 is really a very large number of people to go to a planet where we've never been. But that's common sense. That's what they would say as an engineer. But he's not an engineer, people. He's not a scientist. He's not an engineer. He's an obsessed person for money. He just wants to be the richest person on earth and a king. And everything he thinks of, he says he's a visionary. He didn't invent PayPal. He didn't invent Tesla. He is not the founder of Tesla. He didn't engineer or design any Teslas. He's not an astrophysicist. He doesn't design rockets. He hires engineers to do that. A business that was already happening. He didn't create PayPal. He didn't do Zip. Everything he claims, he founded. He's a visionary. He's not. He has ideas that don't work. That's a visionary? I don't think so. No. That's just a rich person who just spends their time being materialistic and want to manipulate the human race to fulfill his desires. That's it. He's obviously not interested in ecology. He's joined Donald Trump and eliminated the Environmental Protection Society, the whole entire process that took 20, 30 years to develop. He's throwing it out. Asking to have coal come back. Building a manufacturing plant in Memphis, Tennessee. And polluting tons and tons of formaldehyde in the air. That's our ecologist, Elon Musk. He's not an ecologist. He has no interest whatsoever in this planet. He'll dump it and go to Mars because he doesn't care. There's no empathy, there's no compassion, there's no insight, there's no genius. This is just a man who's on ketamine. And he has a lot of money. And the things that he talks about are fascinating. Fascinating. Self-driving cars. Yeah, well, the military's been working on that for like 30 or 40 years. He didn't invent it. Universities have been one project after another developing self-driving cars. Not Elon Musk. He doesn't believe in LiDAR. He doesn't believe in radar. He wants to use cameras with AI, and that's it. They can't see a kid coming around a car. You will run right into him. They can't see a wall in front of them if it's painted to look like scenery. LiDAR would. Radar would. But a camera would see the scenery and think, oh, look, the road continues. I'll drive through it. They've done that. They built a Wile E. Coyote scenario. Big wall, right on the road, painted it as though it's just a road, and they drove a Tesla straight into it, and it did not brake. It didn't slow down. It went straight through it. Now, they took other vehicles that had LiDAR and radar. It stopped. Every single one of them stopped. So do you think he's right? No, he's not. Putting razor blade edges on cars, do you think that's a good idea? No, it's not. Making a car that's bulletproof rather than safe. Where does that make sense? Who wants a car you cannot break out of? You can't break the window to get out. You're stuck. There's no manual releases on the doors because Elon just says, don't need it. Elon decided that it would be too expensive to paint the Cybertruck. So he didn't want to put paint booths in. Now everybody gets a Cybertruck with metal that rusts. And they have to deal with it. Everyone does. They're all rusting. Every single one. You can't put, a wrap on it because it ruins the metal underneath if you take it off. Well thought out super engineer, super visionary, smart guy. Well, America is finding this out. The whole world is finding this out. Europe won't allow them. Germany, they even have a manufacturing plant, but they don't want Tesla. Australia, nope. We don't want that Cybertruck. And yet they love stuff like that. You can't drive that truck down small, thin European roads. It's like driving a tank down the road. You just can't. When you're mentally ill and under delusions of grandeur and you get a whole bunch of people to follow you, they'll be shocked when reality sets in. Oh my God. A person brought a Cybertruck to Europe, to England. And they confiscated it. Said this is not legal. We will not and cannot sign this off, register it, allow you to drive it on our roads. And that was the first one that was brought over, and it was stopped. These decisions are being made quickly because Elon is not a visionary. He's not an engineer. He's not a scientist. He's not a physicist. He's not a genius. He's just a very wealthy man with a big ego. So let's focus. let's reconsider this delusionary process that is Donald Trump and Elon Musk and all this hyper materialistic reality. And let's take in consideration how I look at things. I make Metatronic Tools, sacred geometric. They work on vibrational frequency, electromagnetic fields. They connect with the Schumann wave, which is the natural wave of the earth. It enhances our spiritual ability to be soulful, to radiate inner light, to awaken the light within. They're all based on soul therapy. So think about that. The tools that you're attracted to, the discernment and discrimination that is in you, that draws you to Christ, draws you to my tools, draws you to my pujas. And yet in this world you have bullshit. People talking out their ass like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Donald Trump, and Elon Musk. All saying the same thing. And it's really stupid. And you're not stupid. Because you're working with Christ. And that helps very much the development of your wisdom. Allowing you to be less prideful, less arrogant, less egotistical, more open-minded. So now, millions of you are on the streets. Millions and millions and millions of you are deciding not to put these things in your country. Countries are turning against America because of tariffs, because they're stupid. They're a lie. Tariffs are not a tax you put on a country. Not at all. If you tariff Canada 20%, and they're going to sell you something, say it costs $20 or $10, it's going to cost you 20% more. The manufacturer will pass that charge on to you. If you buy a $30,000 car, it'll probably cost you around $38,000 or $40,000 because of the tariff. The money's going to come from you, the person who's buying. They're providing. You're buying. That tariff reaches you. Not only does it reach you in that way, on material levels, but then you got this asshole Trump telling people, if you come to my country, you may end up in Venezuela. You may end up in a prison. Simply because immigration is not a nice thing to talk about here in America. We're after you. You're an immigrant. You got fentanyl. You're a rapist. You're a murderer. You're an immigrant. Even if you're born in America, you better not leave here. Because when you come back, you may be considered an immigrant. That's the way this guy is. And the people who serve him are equally as insane. Dangers are really high. %70 of tourists from Canada stop coming. Las Vegas is closing. Florida no longer has people coming to the hotels and to their vacation resorts. None. Zero. Tariffs are affecting you, not Canada. This immigration bullshit, anger, hostility process of hate is affecting you and your ability to have a restaurant, your ability to have a service providing bed and breakfast, something you counted on for years. These wonderful Canadians would, every year, they would come back. And you could count on it. And your living, standard of living was wonderful because you can count on it. You can't anymore. Donald Trump has wiped out what you can count on. Can you count on going camping? No, not really. No. Can you count on getting your social services? Can you count on getting your VA benefits? No. Can you count on getting your Social Security benefits? Can you call Social Security because you didn't receive your check? No. Office is closed. No human beings answering phones anymore because Elon doesn't care. He fired them and didn't hire anybody to take their place because he runs AI and he sells AI. So robots and AI are going to take the place of employment. This is just the first 100 days of Donald Trump's presidency. You will get past this. But please, be aware. It could get worse. Trump plans to bring back firing squads, group executions if he retakes the White House, and he did. He wants to expand the use of the death penalty, the many options that he could carry out. And as we already know, he's eliminated the court system for people who are immigrants. Black car shows up, comes into your home, grabs you, a baby, anybody they got on their list. They don't take you to the court system. No. They haul you off to an airport, put you in an airplane to Venezuela, Brazil, Cuba. Some cheap prison Donald Trump thinks is a good place for you to go to because there is no law there, no court system. Once you're on the plane, we never hear of you again. And they get you going with all this hate. They go, well, gosh, they're all gangbangers. They kill people. You're lucky we took them away. And we saved you money by not putting them through the court system. Why aren't you patting our backs? You should be applauding us. Okay, a baby or two, a mother, a scientist, Okay, a couple mistakes here and there. But They're not all mistakes. Must have done some good. Pat us on the back. We'll continue. It's insane. It's insane. And we're coming to a very close edge of dealing with it properly. There are millions of people taken to the streets. There are millions of people throughout the world realizing the United States is one thing, Donald Trump is another. Right now, you don't want to go to the United States. You don't want to do business with the United States. You don't want to go to school in the United States. You don't want to be a tourist in the United States. All that's gone. Isn't that great? He's even trying to get rid of Harvard. Wouldn't that be great? Get rid of our finest schools. Oh, yeah, great. The man is insane. And you're not. You are sane. Yeah. So we have to collectively realize what I'm talking about. This man is violating the Constitution. The Constitution was written to create human rights. Legal situations that we have the right to be innocent until proven guilty, which means we have to go through a court system, have an attorney investigate the case, and come up with the truth. All that's out the door. All of it. Bondi has no idea what that means. These people are not qualified FBI agents. They're not doctors. The person in the head of Health and Services is not a doctor or a scientist. He's a conspiracy idiot. Why is he employed there? He told Trump he would agree with anything he says. Why is the head of the FBI the head of the FBI, and yet he's never been in the FBI? How do you get to be the head of the FBI without ever being an FBI agent? How do you get to be the head of the CIA and never take a course, go to a school, be trained in any degree whatsoever? Because Trump said, make her the head of the CIA, when no one questions it. This is how it's running right now. The king rules. He's got all the cards, according to him. He's the master warlock. You don't mess with the master warlock. So let's focus. Let's realize that I'm here. Let's realize that that is a big thing. That I am telepathy. I truly am a visionary. I truly am capable of engineering, working in physics, understanding proper design of automobiles and rockets and all kinds of things. Medicine, science, totally my nature. I spent my entire life studying those fields. And every day, that's what I do. I keep up to date. Donald Trump doesn't even look at the reports given to him by the FBI or the CIA. He doesn't look at it. He can't read it. He won't. Unless it could be demonstrated to him in a video, in a 1-minute video. He doesn't want anything about it. News media is telling him, did you hear that a Russian general was killed today. A major Russian general was killed in a bomb that blew up his car. Trump goes, "Oh? When was that?" I mean, he got a briefing that morning that had that information in it. But he doesn't listen. He goes to play golf. Where are you going to have that security meeting? On the golf course. In the middle of a Big Mac. Let's realize it is important to know we need a hierarchy, to know we need masters of wisdom, to know that humanity is where that comes from. And it takes quite a while to develop soulful instincts and mindful abilities to be empathetic and compassionate. And every living human being has these abilities. But they're radiated from me, not from Elon Musk or Donald Trump, but Christ. And it's that fellowship with Christ that created the government of democracy and the Constitution and the ability to put a rocket on the moon. All of that is part of Christ. Yet you think Christ is a religion. And it's not. Christ is higher mind. Christ is wisdom, understanding, the law of the truth. In physics, there is a law of truth. It breaks down as you go through it, and you verify it, and you see its verification, and it becomes an understanding. But the law of hate gives us bias and prejudice and lower mind. Cuts out any growth of empathy or compassion. It eliminates any development whatsoever of our discernment and discrimination. We just discriminate. So you need to know that my work, my monastery, my tools, my meditations are very different than this whole materialistic situation we're in. But it's the foundation of everything that we are. Our ancient history is temple building. Our ancient history is spiritual philosophy. That's who we are. Now, all around the planet, every single continent is based on temple building and spiritual philosophy. And God's integrative power to constantly be involved in humanity's plight. The Bible shows that. The Bhagavad Gita shows that. It's ancient, and that's who we are. And my work helps to illuminate the past, recapitulate our soulful abilities, which are much greater than Elon Musk's delusionary ideas. And Donald Trump, who has no idea what economy is or tariffs. Zero. He makes it up. And he's wrong. That would be great if he made it up and he was right. But he's wrong. So just know that I am here, and I am constantly aware of all things that are going on everywhere. I know Elon Musk was Vlad the Impaler in previous life. And if you think of that and see the actions of his harm, his lack of compassion and empathy, his evil way of doing harm to masses of people and cover it up and allude that he's some kind of king, a superior king, a king of great intelligence. And he's not. But in his mind, he believes it. And his job is to get you to believe it. And get you to not believe in the rest of the world. To think that there's people out there paying people to be angry at him. As though people are being paid to be angry at him. There's no makey sensey here. You know? So let's do puja. Let's focus on that. Let's know that we are working within the whole of the planet as a holistic reality in quantum physics. Yeah? When the law of love is applied, it applies higher telepathy. And it increases empathy, compassion, and virtues. It helps reduce the vices and the glamours that come from the law of hate that are all around us. Makes you see things that don't exist. And believe in things that will happen, but not necessarily. Like we're all going to Mars, 2 million people. Even 100 people is way diluted. Even 20 people is extremely diluted. First phase of this is to send robots. No humans. Robots. Advanced communication. Yep. Allowing the robots to interface quicker rather than a 5-minute lapse between communication. And we need to work on developing that. And that's what will happen. We sent robotic probes. That's what you do. You don't send human beings. You send probes. You practice. You find out what's in that soil. What's in the air? How much air is there? What is the weather like? You have to have these probes sitting on that planet for long periods of time to gather information. Because you're ignorant. There's no way we can know anything. And we need to know a lot before we put human beings in that circumstance. Or is there another reason you're doing it? And evil can give you all kinds of reasons. But good, the true, and the beautiful will give you far fewer reasons and help you discern, discriminate, and realize you have to be patient, and there's a reason for that word. It may take you 200 to 300 years to develop the right type of rocket, the right type of living conditions. All the things it needs to go there and back safely. That could take hundreds of years. But this man's crazy. It's all going to be done in his lifetime. Going to Mars, putting up cities. Don't even get involved in that. Get involved in the real science. It will take hundreds of years. And we've been around for tens of thousands, if not millions of years. So we got lots of time. It's not like Elon. Elon thinks, well, no, we don't. This Earth's going to blow up. Catastrophes. Look back. We don't get too many catastrophes. Historically, we just don't. We haven't been hit by very large comets or asteroids or anything like that. If we had, it was 1 in a million years. So he's totally talking out his ass from a place of hate and fear. He knows nothing. And from his projections of illusions and delusions, he's compromising humanity. Just like he is the people in Tennessee, just like he is the people who buy a Cybertruck, he's compromising humanity. We can't do that. This man's, he's just a guy. We can't let him go around killing people and putting mechanical devices on Earth that are extremely unsafe. It just should not and will not happen. So let's do puja. We're going to do a soul I walk on earth. And just relax and listen to the puja. And I'll do an om about every 10 seconds. And we'll om together.
messenger of light. I am a pilgrim on the way of love. I do not walk alone, but I know myself as one with all great souls, and one with them in service. Their strength is mine. This strength I claim. My strength is theirs, and this I freely give. A soul, I walk on earth. I represent the One. The will of God moves the world. The past has gone. I am that past. It makes me what I am. The future comes. I also am the coming destiny, and therefore I am that. The present flows from out the past. The future colors that which is. I make the future also by my present knowledge of the past and the beauty of the present. And therefore I am that I am. Within the circle of the will of God I stand. Without the radius of the world of glamour, I take my place. And there I stand. I stand before the judgment seat of my soul. I am that soul. All love and light am I. I serve the world and lose myself in service. This is my life, and this is the way that I will tread until the day be with us all. awakening in the consciousness of humanity, the family of humanity, to bring forth points of energy within themselves, inaugurating certain new techniques in work and in modes of communication. I invoke the group of telepathic communicators. I invoke the group of trained observers. I invoke the group of magnetic healers. I invoke the group of the educators of this new age. I invoke the group of political organizers. I invoke the group of the workers in the field of religion. I invoke the group of scientific servers. I invoke the group of psychologists. I invoke the group of financiers and economists. I invoke all creative workers as the new group. I invoke the externalization of the inner existing of conditions within these groups through the manifestation and the externalization of the avatar.
Okay, just take it easy, relax. So that's A Soul I Walk on Earth. Yeah. You might want to listen to it pretty frequently. Yeah, there's a lot in it that applies to our future. Our future is all of humanity developing as a new group of world servers. Yeah. Not about money, it's about service. It's about active, creative intelligence. It's our ability to better understand, be empathetic, and cooperate as a group with understanding, with empathy, with conscious awareness. Decisions that we're making that are collectively understood as common sense. No big cult-like situations. They all get burnt up as delusions of grandeur, as different types of glamours. Yeah. And that's all going to happen, but it takes quite a while. These people just don't come out of nowhere. Elon Musk is the reincarnation of Vlad the Impaler. That was hundreds of years ago. And he's back. And he's been back for a while. So we need to be aware of the fact that what is happening is reincarnation, always. So the best that we could do is the best that we can do. And as we do that, our future incarnation will be better because we're working out things that are not so good about ourselves, our way of reacting and responding as a collective. And that could be a cult, a religious fanatical bullshit, or a political fanatical bullshit. Yeah. In either case, it's a delusion of grandeur. And it needs to be burnt up. It needs to be healed. It needs to be seen with the truth in mind, and the truth will set you free from that delusion of grandeur. So be patient. The truth is happening. Try and catch my teachings every single Saturday. Be there for my darshan. Yeah. So thank all of you for attending. I hope you learned something out of this. I hope you feel really good about listening to more puja and wearing your solar forms and helping your friends heal. You're not going to talk them out of bullshit. What you're going to do is help them in the process that they're in. And they're in a cult-like process, either political or religious or whatever it is. They're deluded, yeah, and they have illusions, and those become delusions, yeah. So Be patient, because I am healing the world and all the nations of this process of the reincarnation of these incredibly bad, evil people. It was just a few generations back we had Hitler, Mussolini, and all of them. So they reincarnate people, and all their people reincarnate. So it's a long process of healing that got us into that in the first place. Yeah. So we are being freed from a world that is being programmed for us to have a new world order or have all kinds of delusionary belief systems as to what's a-coming. But what's coming is the Antichrist and the Antichrist reality. And I'm Christ. So I am putting up a very strong influence against the Antichrist to heal and awaken humanity to their own true humanity, not inhumanity. What you're experiencing, what you're witnessing, is inhumane. Elon Musk is inhumane. Donald Trump is inhumane. We want humanity, and you're going to get it. It's our human rights to have a soul. So again, thank you very much for attending my class. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, have some faith in that. Know that I am not here in order to create a religion. I'm here to free you from delusions and illusions that come from witchcraft and the dark forces of the Dark Lodge. Trump is in the Dark Lodge. Yeah? Elon Musk is in the Dark Lodge. There is no light in these people. They are as deluded and clumsy and stupid as you can get. So please, be aware of this. Know that what you think is real is going to change right before your eyes. And all the hype that they're putting out will never manifest. And the real truth will. And whatever they're tearing down and getting rid of, we will restore and bring back. All right. Thank you very much.